I wanted to touch on an interesting topic today, and that is what you focus on as a home seller when trying to evaluate how important certain elements are in your listing agent or the package of marketing services that are being pitched to you. So, one of the most normal temptations we have, and I think this is not in just real estate, but in many businesses, is to focus on what is easily measurable. For example, my husband used to tell me that in his career when he worked for large corporations at times, instead of focusing on how projects were going, what business was coming in, they sometimes focused on things like what was the phone bill for that month? How much time did you spend on the telephone? And what he used to tell me is it's easily measurable, and so that's what people want to look at. And that's not a really good thing for the big picture. So it is a temptation, but it's not really, I don't think it's a wise approach. So for example, a seller might have it in his or her mind that postcards have to be sent. And truthfully, very few sales tend to come from postcards. Not to say they can't be valuable, but in general, that's not where your next buyer for your home is going to come from. It's probably going to come from the internet. But anyway, so if you have an agent who says, look, I really don't think that that's a good use of our time and resources, we'd rather spend it on Facebook ads. And the seller says, well, no, I want to see that postcard. I want to see those 200 or 300 or however many postcards. The agent may cave in and do it just not to lose the business. And that's, again, measurable. You can measure the postcards. It's harder for a consumer to get an idea of how much value a Facebook ad is bringing. It may feel kind of amorphous, but in fact, you can get the information from Facebook about how many views there were. And if you've linked it to a website, maybe you can see how many people came over from that ad, that kind of thing. But that would be a mistake to focus on what's measurable. That can also happen with the commission. So sometimes an agent has a certain level commission. It's of course negotiable by law, but a seller may have a different number in mind and say, okay, I've interviewed 4 different agents and they've got these 4 different commission rates or commission structures. And so I'm going to go with the bottom one. And I saw that recently in a social media setting, a private social media setting, where somebody asked for names of roofers. And a number of people came forward and said, okay, I've got this company or that company that I like. And the gentleman said, great, I will take their bids and then I will see which one is the cheapest. And I came back and suggested that that may not be wise, because the cheapest may not have the best workmanship or the best quality materials, or they may not be as skilled. But just interviewing roofers, if you assume they're all the same, you might be unhappy later with the quality of the job you actually get. And it may not even be apparent for a while that going with that low-cost roofing company may not have actually served you the best. It may not be the best value. Photographs are an interesting place where some people want to cut corners. And you might think, well, there are 10 pictures, there are 20 pictures, they show my kitchen, they show my living room, they show my pool. However, the quality that a good photographer brings to the job will translate so powerfully into the level of interest in your property. And that's why I always hire a professional photographer who does enhanced work to bring in nice lighting and to show your home in the best possible light. I see so many times where there are agents who just run through the house and they shoot pictures with their iPhone. It's 8 o'clock at night, it's dark, it's depressing, the toilet lid's up. And you might not realize that that makes a difference, but it actually makes a statement about not just your home, but the quality of representation you have. So it also makes a subtle statement to the real estate community who will be coming forward. And you're trying to give a feeling about the house that a buyer will fall in love with. And poor quality pictures don't elicit that same feeling. That's why staging is so very powerful. But those are things that are not so easily measured. Is a picture a picture a picture, or is there a real difference? And I would encourage you to not focus all the time on what's easily measurable. I'm not saying the measurable stuff doesn't matter at all, but I think you want to look at the broad picture. Things that cannot be quantified may be your most important things. Skill set, for example, of negotiation. And those are things that many of us have learned the hard way over many, many years and perhaps many courses. And negotiation isn't a one-dimensional thing. I've taken every negotiation class I can get near because not only do I want to improve my skills, but I want to recognize what techniques are being used coming at me. And I think those are very important things. You can't measure it though. You can say afterwards, my agent did a great job. I'm going to put something up on Yelp or Zillow or Google Plus or something about my agent because she or he did such a great job negotiating. But you don't know ahead of time that that's going to be the case. And that's true for many things that happen in real estate. You don't know how good of a tenacious fighter you're going to have on your hands until you run into an inevitable bump of some kind. Hopefully they'll all be small bumps, but sometimes they're giant ones with permits or bad inspections or conflicting inspections. And that's when you kind of see what kind of quality you've got. And again, it's not something you can necessarily quantify ahead of time. There are realtors who just got their license a month ago and realtors who've been around for a long time, those who care a lot about their professionalism, and those who are gliding. So just to summarize, a lot of these things cannot be quantified. You can't measure them easily. So the best way I think to go forward is, get recommendations from your family and friends for good agents to work with, whether you're buying or selling. Talk to a number of people. You don't interview 20 people from the same company, but talk to a few people and get a sense of what they think their value proposition is. And then also make sure that you feel comfortable with that person, because if you don't like them at the beginning, you're going to hate them at the end. And it's a fallacy to believe that a realtor has to be mean to be a good negotiator. That's just not true. So if you focus on not the little tiny measurable things like the phone bill or the postcards, but on the big picture, and realize that many of these things are not quantifiable, but ask good, in-depth, open-ended questions. And hopefully you can find an agent you feel compatible with who will go to bat for you every step of the way, whether it's being present at inspections, bothering to hold the open house to get a little bit more traffic in, or whatever it might be, doing both contemporary marketing and traditional marketing. But know that it will not all be something you can put in a column, compare them, and pick the cheapest one and actually have the best value. I hope that makes sense. My name is Mary Pope Handy. I'm a realtor with Serena Group. I'm coming to you at the end of January 2017 from my home office, and I hope you're having a wonderful new year. Thank you.